$2,500. Like
Yeah.
every single month, that automatic deduction just clears your bank account.
Right.
You do not even see the money. It just vanishes into the ether. And that is $30,000 over a single year.
Which is a staggering amount when you say it out loud.
It really is. And if
Yeah.
you stretch that out over 5 years, which, is a blink of an eye when you were building a life, you're looking at $150,000, poof, gone.
Yeah, just gone.
And, the most terrifying part of that math is what you have to show for it at the end, which is absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
You own 0% of the walls around you.
It is a brutal financial reality check. And honestly, it is entirely by design. I mean, the human brain is actually quite bad at, aggregating recurring monthly expenses into long-term financial deficit.
Oh, for sure. We just see it as a bill.
Exactly. We view rent as just the unavoidable cost of existing in a space for 30 days. We rarely zoom out and confront the cumulative hemorrhage of capital that $150,000 represents over half a decade.
Which is exactly why we are pulling that thread today for you. We are doing a deep dive into a very specific promotional presentation from the New Home University podcast.
Yeah, featuring Jubril Wilson.
Right. Widely known in the industry as Coach JB. He is a real estate professional, and our mission today is to decode the underlying strategic arguments and the actual on-the-ground financial mechanics of buying new construction homes in today's market.
Because it is a wild market right now.
It is. We are analyzing the exact pitch being made to potential buyers. We want to look past the marketing shine to understand how the problem is framed and, more importantly, how the mechanics of the proposed solutions actually operate.
Right. We need to dissect the core philosophy driving this entire source material, which they capture in a very specific mantra. New home, new wealth, new health.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the source starts right out of the gate with that massive, heavy number we just mentioned.
The 150,000.
Yeah. The sheer compounding cost of renting. That figure is dropped like an anvil just to make you stop in your tracks.
What's fascinating here is how the source strategically deploys this concept of lost money to completely reframe the concept of homeownership.
What do you mean?
Well, they are forcing the listener to abandon the idea that a house is just a shelter. Instead, they position it as the foundational first step to family wealth creation.
Right.
The source literally introduces the equation that new home equals new wealth. By taking that exact same $2,500 you were already spending and redirecting it toward a mortgage, you are fundamentally altering the physics of your personal economy.
I tend to look at long-term renting like an incredibly expensive subscription model for a basic human necessity.
Oh, that is a great way to put it.
Like, you are paying a premium tier price every single month just for access. But the second you stop paying, you are locked out. You never own the software. You are just continuously funding someone else's appreciating asset.
Yeah, you are buying their house for them.
Exactly. But shifting from renting to owning feels, I think, paralyzing for a lot of first-time buyers because they think they are supposed to find the perfect house they will live in for the next 40 years.
And the source aggressively counters that exact paralysis. They explicitly advise that this does not have to be your forever home.
Which is a huge relief to hear, honestly.
It is a massive psychological hurdle they are trying to clear for the buyer. The pitch is that this is simply your first investment vehicle.
But the logic is entirely sequential, right? You live there, you stabilize your housing costs so it cannot be raised by a landlord, and you let the property appreciate.
Yeah, but the source takes it a step further. They point out that when the time is right to move, you do not necessarily sell it.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You keep it as a rental property to fund your next move.
Oh, wow.
So you are leveraging the equity. You are transitioning from the person paying the expensive subscription to the person collecting it.
Right, right.
But, the obvious hurdle is how a normal renter actually breaches the wall to get into that first home, especially in a housing market where traditional mortgage rates have been incredibly restrictive.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of the solution. Because if the motivation is escaping the rent trap, the source argues that new construction specifically, like not buying a previously owned resale home, but new construction is the smartest, most viable play right now.
Yeah, the presentation moves from the philosophical pain point into the practical machinery of the current market.
Yeah.
They detail very specific financial levers that home builders are currently pulling to artificially create affordability.
Basically to attract buyers who would otherwise be totally priced out.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the source does not just say builders are offering deals, they list 5 specific mechanisms.
Right, let's go through.
First, promotional interest rates that are significantly lower than the standard market rate. Second, closing cost assistance.
Which is huge for upfront cash.
Huge. Third, incentives on what they call quick-moving homes. Fourth, builder-paid incentives. And fifth, limited-time financing specials.
And the ultimate claim is that by combining these, buyers can drop their monthly payments by hundreds of dollars compared to a traditional mortgage on a resale home.
But I have to push back on this framing, though. Let's look at it critically for a second.
Sure.
A builder is a for-profit enterprise. If they are spending millions to buy down interest rates and, throwing in closing cost assistance, they are taking a massive hit to their profit margins on paper.
Right.
It feels a lot like a casino offering you a free luxury suite and complimentary drinks. It feels like an incredible steal until you realize the casino only offers those perks because the mathematical models guarantee you will leave far more money at the blackjack tables downstairs.
That is a very accurate comparison.
So where is the builder making their money back in this scenario? What is the catch?
Well, we need to look at how that actually works mechanically. A builder cannot magically change the federal interest rate.
Right.
What they are doing is using a financial instrument called a forward commitment. The builder goes to a lender and pays millions of dollars upfront in a lump sum to lock in a massive block of money at a wholesale discounted interest rate.
Oh, I see.
They then offer that heavily subsidized rate exclusively to buyers who purchase their homes and use their preferred lender.
But again, they are spending money to do that.
Exactly. And that is the exact mechanism that makes this a dangerous landscape for an uneducated buyer. The builder makes the money back by refusing to negotiate on the base price of the home.
Ah.
If a builder drops the price of a house by $50,000, they destroy the comparable sales value for every other house they're trying to sell in that neighborhood.
Because then the next appraiser sees a lower price.
Exactly. The entire subdivision's value drops. But if they keep the price of the house artificially high, and instead offer you $50,000 in financing incentives in the background, they protect the neighborhood's property values while still giving you the monthly payment you need to close the deal.
Wow. So it is essentially a highly sophisticated shell game.
Pretty much.
They are shifting the numbers off to sticker price and hiding them in the financing terms to protect their future sales.
The source even implicitly acknowledges this complexity. They state very clearly, every builder is different. Every community is different. Every buyer is different.
So you really have to know what you are looking at.
Yeah, these incentives are highly localized and completely volatile. I mean, one builder might be offering massive closing cost assistance because they're at the end of their fiscal quarter and need to show volume to their investors. But the builder right across the street might be offering a heavily discounted interest rate on a specific quick move-in home, which is a house that is already finished, simply because every day that house sits empty, the builder is bleeding cash on construction loan interests.
That makes total sense, and that perfectly sets up the massive red flag the source waves next.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you understand that builders are playing a complex, high-stakes shell game with the numbers, the absolute worst thing you can do is walk into their territory completely unprotected.
The source calls it the biggest mistake a buyer can make, like walking into a model home alone.
The warning they issue is incredibly stark. The builder has professionals working to protect the builder's bottom line. You deserve professionals working for you.
Because people walk into a model home and, there are fresh baked cookies, the lighting is perfect, the salesperson is incredibly friendly, and they just drop their guard.
Right. It is a sensory manipulation designed to disarm you before a high-stakes financial negotiation even begins.
Exactly. When you walk into that model home, the friendly agent greeting you has a legal fiduciary duty to secure the most profitable terms possible for the builder, period.
It is crazy to think about. Going into a model home unrepresented and relying on the builder's sales agent to explain the incentives to you is like going to court and asking the opposing side's lawyer for legal advice.
That is exactly what it is like.
They might be polite, but they are structurally obligated to clean you out. They work for the other team.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is about a profound power asymmetry. The corporate builder negotiates these complex incentive packages hundreds of times a month.
Right, they have whole departments for this.
They have actuaries and data analysts backing their pricing models. The average consumer, on the other hand, buys a house maybe 2 or 3 times in their entire life.
Yeah.
The source is highlighting this massive experience gap to establish the absolute necessity of having their team, New Home University, represent the buyer.
They lay out a very specific checklist of how their team acts as a shield against that asymmetry. They say they help you compare communities, compare builders, compare the financing options, and dig up the invisible incentives.
Right.
They also find available grants and negotiate on your behalf.
The key word in that checklist is compare. Because of the shell game we just discussed, a promotional interest rate from Builder A means absolutely nothing unless you can mathematically compare it against the closing costs from Builder B.
Right, because Builder B might have a higher rate, but they pay all your upfront costs.
Exactly. And then you have to contrast both of those against traditional financing on a resale home. An unrepresented buyer only ever sees the tightly controlled slice of data that the builder's agent wants them to see.
Having representation essentially forces the builder to show their math.
Yes.
But, the presentation does not stop at the transaction.
Yeah.
Let's say you navigate the model home, you secure the forward commitment interest rate, and you get the keys.
You're in the house. You're in. The source broadens the lens significantly here, shifting from the concept of new wealth to what they call new health.
Yeah, it is a shift from acquisition to preservation. They introduce a holistic philosophy where a healthier lifestyle, a secure home, and a fortified financial future are totally interconnected.
It is not just about getting the asset. It is about defending it.
Defending it is key.
They are very deliberate about this. They tell the listener, because your family matters, protect everything you are building.
Yeah.
And they list 3 non-negotiable defensive measures.
Right, which are homeowners insurance, life insurance, and a comprehensive financial plan.
Building wealth is only half the battle. Protecting it is just as critical.
They are highlighting the immense fragility of new wealth here. I mean, if a family successfully escapes the rent trap and builds up $150,000 in home equity, but they lack proper life insurance or a financial safety net, that entire ecosystem can collapse overnight.
100%. A single medical emergency, a sudden job loss, or a tragedy can force them into foreclosure, wiping out years of financial progress and sending them right back into the rent trap.
Back to the subscription model.
Exactly. So by pushing these defensive products, the source is positioning themselves not just as real estate agents selling drywall, but as holistic wealth advisors managing a family's entire financial trajectory.
And once that entire narrative architecture is built,
The rent trap, the incentives, everything.
right, the bleeding of the rent trap, the hidden salvation of builder incentives, the danger of the model home, and the vital need for wealth protection. Once all that is laid out, the source executes an incredibly precise, highly engineered call to action.
Yeah, they funnel all of this philosophy into a very specific digital gateway.
The mechanism they use to capture the audience is wild to me. It is just a text message.
It is so simple but so effective.
They instruct the listener to text the phrase NHU grant to a specific number, 301-509-7138. And the promise is that within seconds, an automated system fires back a link to what they call a quick homebuyer interest form.
And it is explicitly designed to take less than 60 seconds to complete.
We should really analyze the psychology of that 60-second form because it is not just a digital guest book. It is a highly calibrated filtration system.
Oh, absolutely. It is doing a lot of heavy lifting behind the scenes.
Right. They ask for the standard contact information: name, email, phone number, where you want to live, and your timeline.
Sure, normal stuff.
But hidden in that quick form are 2 extremely strategic data points. They ask the user to provide an estimated credit score, and they ask, are you currently renting or do you own?
Those 2 questions are the absolute engine of this entire marketing apparatus.
Yeah.
Think about what they're doing here. By asking for rent or own status and a credit score immediately after dangling the possibility of financial assistance, New Home University is instantly separating the casual window shoppers from their ideal target demographic.
Ah, I see.
If a lead comes in indicating they are currently renting and they have, say, a 720 credit score, the sales team instantly knows this person is feeling the acute pain of the $30,000 a year rent trap.
Right. They want out.
But more importantly, they have the financial liquidity and creditworthiness to actually qualify for those hidden builder incentives today.
Wow. It completely eliminates the friction of traditional real estate prospecting.
Totally.
They are not cold calling. They have built a system where the exact demographic they want self-identifies and hands over their financial profile voluntarily.
And the incentive for the user to hand over that data is the promise of a complimentary new home strategy session and the potential to unlock an NHU grant ranging from $1,500 to $2,500.
Which is subject to guidelines and availability, of course.
Of course. But providing capital assistance at the entry point of the funnel is a brilliant conversion tactic. You start the presentation terrified about losing $150,000 to a landlord.
And by the end, you are willingly texting your credit score to a stranger for the chance to secure a grant that will help you buy an artificially subsidized new construction home.
All while being shielded by a team of professional negotiators.
And the final destination they point you to is newhomeuniversity.com, cementing the core premise that the modern real estate market is far too complex and predatory to navigate without an education and an advocate.
It really is a masterclass in identifying a visceral consumer pain point, explaining the hidden mechanics of the solution, and mapping out a highly structured, emotionally resonant path to conversion.
So what does this all mean? If we pull all the way back and look at the landscape for you, the listener, we have charted a very specific course through the source material today.
We really have.
We began with the agonizing math of long-term renting, watching massive amounts of capital evaporate without building any equity.
The 150 grand.
Right. Then we dissected the hidden mechanisms of the solution, exposing how builders use forward commitments to offer artificially low promotional rates and closing cost assistance while making their money back by holding the line on base prices.
The shell game.
Exactly. We highlighted the critical need for representation to protect yourself from the power asymmetry and sensory manipulation of the builder's model home.
Don't go in alone.
Never go in alone. And finally, we analyzed the holistic goal of defending that new wealth through insurance and financial planning, all triggered by a ruthlessly efficient data-filtering digital funnel.
This raises an important question, though.
Okay.
If we look critically at the ultimate wealth-building strategy the source is advocating, the end game, they suggest, is buying a new home, building equity, and then, crucially, keeping it as a permanent rental property when you move up to your next home.
Right, which sounds great for the individual.
It is undeniably a sound strategy for building generational wealth for an individual family. But if we extrapolate that economic behavior across the entire market...
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
If every successful buyer of a new construction home actually executes this strategy, effectively hoarding today's starter homes and converting them into tomorrow's permanent rental properties, what happens to the market?
Supply just dries up.
Exactly. How severely does that shrink the supply of available homes for the next generation of first-time buyers who are desperately trying to escape the exact same rent trap?
Man, that is a brilliant and tangled economic knot to leave you with. Escaping the rent trap today by leveraging builder incentives, only to systematically become the architect of tomorrow's rent trap for the next family in line.
It is a fascinating paradox.
It really is something to mull over as you watch the housing developments go up in your own city. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the mechanics behind the deals you see. Always look for the invisible math protecting the house. And whatever you do, try not to think too hard about that incredibly expensive subscription model you might be funding on the first of the month. See you next time.